What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. How you guys doing? Welcome to the preview for Manchester United's trip to Brighton at the Amex tomorrow night, 8 p.m. UK time. In another tough away game, with Beckons, another game where we haven't showed minerals this season away from home. And listen, Brighton, they might not admit it, but they're going to want revenge. They're going to want revenge for what happened in the FA Cup semi-final a couple of weeks ago. And we have to be ready for this game. Now, look, we're in a position where, look, Spurs are out of it now. They're done. They're dusted. We've beaten Aston Villa, even though they were wide of the mark to be able to get top four, but they're out of it now, you should imagine. And obviously against Brighton, we can put them out. We're not out of getting top four, but we can put ourselves in a position to strengthen top four. You know, it will be a catastrophe if we don't get top four from this position, but we have to get back to winning games. And that's what I said before the Villa game. And this is kind of similar because, you know, Liverpool are lurking. Liverpool, I said, I think will win all of their games. And yes, we've got some games in hand. I understand that. But we have to be on it. We can't be losing games. And if you look at the next couple of games, that is this away game, which is super tough. We see how tough it is to go there. And also, you got to go to West Ham on Sunday as well, which isn't easy. Currently, Liverpool sit on 56 points, United on 63 points. We've played one game more than them. So, look, what's that? So it's 4 points there. 7 points. 7 points ahead of Liverpool, right? With a game in hand. Is my maths great? Yeah, 7 points. 7 points in ahead of Liverpool with a game in hand. And the game in hand is Brighton. So if you beat Brighton, that's 10 points having played the same games as Liverpool. That should be it. That should be it. And we said it against Spurs, you know, that if we beat them, that should be it. And we didn't manage to do it. We got a draw. Having said that, a draw against Brighton wouldn't be the worst result. I'm dreading this game, if I'm honest with you. The reason I'm dreading this game, and I spoke about this with KG, and you know, he said, "What, you scared of Brighton?" and this, that, and the other. Look, we just done quite well against them. We've done really well against them tactically at Wembley, but we also saw the things that they're really good at. But this is away from home, and away from home in the teams against the top half. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest. We've been absolutely horrendous. You know, we've capitulated, we've been soft, we've made mistakes, we concede early goals. Or you could be like against Spurs, 2-0 up at halftime, and then we still managed to cock it up. So, you know, I'm not expecting us to win this game, but I'll take a draw. I feel really pessimistic about this game. And look, the positives are obviously we played against them not long ago, and Eric Ten Hag came up with a really good plan for Brighton. I think we played really well tactically. You know, I look at what Wan-Bissaka was doing on Matoma. I look at what Luke Shaw was doing on Danny Welbeck, going in deep on him. You know, I look at Anthony working hard. You know, in midfield, we were combative and managed to win the ball back quite a few times as well. Now, don't get me wrong. In that game, I think Rashford, was trying to gamble on Webster a lot, and Pascal Gross kept getting out. So we have to be more tactically astute, even more so going to the Amex, because they're going to be on it. They just won their last game 6-0, and Zerbi made an awful lot of changes in that game as well. Casado, Matoma, you know, players like that didn't even start that game. So, you know, he said in his press conference to Zerbi, had some of the quotes here actually. Just he said, to decide the first 11, it will be a problem. I think I won't sleep, but that's not a problem. De Zerbi is pleased to get another crack at United soon after the semi-final. He said, yes, unfortunately we can't go back and play the semi-final, but we can achieve Europa League, our target, and to achieve our target, we have to win 8 games. So look, that's what they're on. They're on the cusp of achieving having a great season this season themselves, and they are not going to be fearful. I think back to last year. Near enough the last day of the season, near the end, you know, when we got absolutely battered. Was it 4-0? Remember Dallo falling in the goal? Caicedo scored from distance. Cucurella scored. I think Pascal Gross scored. I think Trossard scored, I want to say. Ripped us to shreds. And that was the famous game where beforehand, I think I touched the post 4 times, you know, the judge, etc., etc. But we've come a long way. You know, at the time of recording this, the press conference hasn't happened yet, but Alejandro Garnacho, fingers crossed, hopefully he's back in the squad on the bench. But team news wise, look, Dallow's been played quite well recently, whether it's left back or right back. Done really well against Aston Villa. But does Eric Ten Hag say, listen, I'm going back to Wan-Bissaka or Matoma? I think he needs to. Look, I'm not saying Dalot can't play. I'm not saying that at all, because actually, if we want Dalot to get back to where he was before the World Cup, which he is starting to cook, by the way, he's doing really well in the last few games. But if we want him to get back to that, you could argue that you've got to start playing him regular, like not just, okay, there's a top left winger coming in, so you want him clamped, let's play Wan-Bissaka in this game. But we're only going off of what Ten Hag last said about the pair, which is he assesses the load, he assesses what game it is, how tired they are. Wan-Bissaka didn't play against Villa, played against Spurs, but got taken off sort of like 70th minute or so. He was on a yellow card then. And then Dalot went over to right back and Malacia came on at left back. Then we conceded. But Malacia had a really good game against Villa as well. But me personally, I'm going Wan-Bissaka. Me personally, I'm going Wan-Bissaka and I'd probably go back to Dalot left back. This is not an easy game. And that's not, Malacia played really well. And look, if he plays, he plays. I was unsure about him playing against Villa and leaving Wan-Bissaka out and putting Dalot right back. But the team can perform, especially at home. But away, our record is so crap, so crap against the top half, the top 12 teams. I just don't want us to get another humiliation. I am scarred. Honestly, I am scarred. And you might think I'm being pessimistic, but I'm really worried about this game because it's the same against Tottenham. I said it before that. I said they're crap. They are an awful football team. No confidence. And it surprised me, actually, that we went 2-0 up. It was just that actually what I thought would happen in the first half happened in the second half. When we capitulated, as soon as the team put it on us a little bit away from home, as soon as they started to increase the intensity away from home, as soon as they started to get after us, and even in the first half, we wasn't completely in control of that Spurs game. They were having dangerous moments. So that's what we're like away from home. Now, can we beat Brighton? Of course we can beat Brighton. Can we beat them away from home? Of course we can beat them away from home. But the evidence this season with how we perform is an ongoing theme, and this is the last sort of the bigger teams this season, or the top half teams that we have to play. We've got Bournemouth and West Ham away after that, so and West Ham to come immediately after that. So look, I think as long as we don't lose this game, I'm fine. I'm going to stick with what I said, which I think our home form is the games that will get us over the line. But again, the challenge still remains, boys. Win today, 10 points ahead of Liverpool on the same games. Done and dusted. Do you know what I mean? Unless you lose 3 games on the bounce, which I can't see happening. But it's pretty much done and dusted then, the distance. We have to win. Or we have to make sure we don't lose. But if you win, that's it. The carrot of top 4 is there. So, yeah, I would back to the team. I would go with Wan-Bissaka back at right back. Midfield, I mean, again, you never quite know what Eric Ten Hag can throw up. He can always throw up some surprises. He can always throw up some changes that you might not expect. But again, look at the basis of how we played against Brighton at Wembley Stadium, not the Amex, at Wembley Stadium. It was Rashford on the left, Anthony on the right, Martial back up front, who Martial hasn't started since Brighton, actually. Midfield, Bruno, who was touch and go against Spurs, but he played, but against Brighton, Bruno in a 10, Casemiro, Eriksen, and obviously you go with Lindelof and Shaw. There's no even discussing that. They're going to be huge, and they were brilliant against Brighton, so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't play again. And obviously we got the clean sheet as well, so I would be stunned if Harry Maguire was there. But tactically, we learned a lot. I mean, I really enjoyed that tactical view we done after that Brighton win, breaking it down with Cam, and we learned a lot. We learned that we did actually have a plan for them. At the beginning, I think Martial was getting slated again. People calling him lazy, saying he doesn't run around, doesn't do this. But again, if you understand football and the tactics, his job wasn't to try and win the ball and press Webster or press Lewis Dunk and try and win the ball off them. It was to block the passing lanes, because they had this little triangle or the box, but mainly it was triangle when Caicedo, however you say his name, was really good at creating that little. He was just dropping off and coming in front of Webster and Lewis Dunk. And sometimes we got that wrong where he was able to get in there and turn, or, McAllister would come in there and help him out do that, and they were playing out. And then Rashford was gambling too much on Webster, and ping, the ball was going out to the right-hand side, our left-hand side, to Pascal Gross, and he was, leaving Solly March, and Pascal Gross, Rashford was, with Dalot with a lot to do. So we can't afford to do things like that. But tactically, Ten Hag has a plan. Tactically, Ten Hag showed in that game that he can have a plan for Brighton. The same way he showed that against Villa. He had a different tactical plan, which was Marcus Rashford up front, high line for in behind. I don't think that'll be the case against Brighton. I don't think that, they don't play a high line. They play with a lot with the ball. We're gonna have to be good in transitions, and that's where Martial comes into it. So I think he'll probably go back to the team that started against Brighton, in my opinion, in the semi-final. We'll see. Again, you can never say definite with Eric. You never know what he's going to do, but I pretty much feel safe with the same team. I mean, in midfield, McTominay said he's coming back soon. Put that on his Instagram. Fred, would you start him? I mean, again, I probably wouldn't. Sabitzer, maybe. Could he do what he done the other day? But I don't see him leaving Anthony out. I think we're going to need his energy. I think we're going to need his tenacity up and down the wings. We're going to have to work really hard because, as we saw in that first game against them in Wembley a couple of weeks ago, Anthony done really well on that left-hand side with Matona and Estepinian, making sure he worked back and helped Wan-Bissaka, so that he took care of Estepinian so that, Wan-Bissaka could take care of Matoma, and that's really important. So I'm not saying Bruno can't do that, but this is a sort of game where you definitely want Anthony in the wide area with that intensity. And probably back to Rashford. I think maybe Sancho would miss this one out and be on the bench. So you never know, though. But Eric Ten Hag might have liked what he saw, might try something different. He might keep Rashford up front and say, you keep running in behind and give us that threat, and Jadon keep the ball well, nip and tuck. You'll be building your confidence. Maybe he will, but I just think he goes back to Martial for this. What am I predicting? Draw at best. Draw at best. I can't see us winning. I can't see us winning the game. I still think we're soft away from home. The mentality. Obviously, if we put in a top performance, we are capable, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm, on Thursday night, come the end of the game, I'm saying, wow, I couldn't see that coming. I thought we could get a draw at best. And I will say that on my match reaction if we surprise myself. But I think as long as we don't lose, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. It's not the worst result to if you offered me a draw now, I'd take it. And again, that sounds defeatist. We should want to go and beat Brighton, but I'm only going off of a representation of where we are away from home, and all the evidence is staring us in the face all season long, and I can't see it changing right near the end. And I hope it does. I hope it does. I hope they've saved a big away performance fine, because it'd be nice to get one for. I don't want to go through the whole season. I mean, look, West Ham and Bournemouth, if we win there, it'd be great, but against that top half, when you're looking at Villa, City, Chelsea didn't win, and they're not even in the top half anymore. But again, big away games. Spurs, Brentford. Who else is there? Arsenal, Liverpool. That's 7. Can't even think of the rest. Let me look at the table actually, and I'll go through who we didn't beat. Newcastle, another one, got smashed. Fulham, we won in the last minute. Look at that. Palace, we drew that in the last minute, free kick from Elise. So that's pretty much the top half. Then Chelsea are 12th and they don't count. And then below that, we beat Forest, we beat Everton, we beat Leeds, we beat Leicester, we beat Wolves away, we beat Southampton away. So the bottom half, you can see at the table, the wins are there. So by laws of averages, when you get to Bournemouth and you get to West Ham, you could argue that we'd be all right. But those games there, and from Crystal Palace up, Palace, Brentford, Villa, Spurs, Liverpool, Newcastle, City, Arsenal. No wins. And some terrible performances as well. So I don't want to be too pessimistic, but I'm going off of what I've seen from this team and how they make me feel. So yeah, smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, get your predictions in as well, and let me know how you feel about the game. See you soon. Peace.